Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I'm back on the garden furniture refurbishment, and all did not go quite to plan with the table, as we'll see in a minute. Now, as you can see, the table is back with me, and all did not go quite as I had hoped or planned, but I have to say it wasn't entirely unexpected. I sent the lady a picture of the table before I went over and just said, this is what I've got, you might want to have a look at it and we can discuss the finish and whether or not it's what you want. And I took it over, and essentially what she said is, yes, it's wonderful, thank you very much, but, and the but is that she is an artist. And I have the same sort of conflict with my wife in that she is the artist, I am the vaguely engineer type. And there is a difference between the two. I seek perfection if I can in anything I do, which is why I proposed to her. She is quite happy with things which are flawed and not quite perfect, which is probably why she said yes. But 48 years on, we've sort of muddled through that. And in this instance, I get it. I can see what the lady means. The minute I finished the table, it looked too new. It looked wrong even in our garden, never mind in the setting that it was going to be put into, which is a far more of a cottagey country sort of garden. So I took it over to discuss, and I also took over a couple of samples of where I thought the lady might want to go. And essentially it's down to how wood reacts with age, particularly oak, and what I've been trying to avoid all the way along turns out to be exactly what the lady wants. Let's just have a look at a bit of this oak and see what I'm talking about. Now, over time, oak does not react well to both metal and moisture, in particular steel, and you can see where it's blackened around where there's been the original seat base frame has been against it. It's eaten away the bolts where it's been going through in the middle, and this is down to tannins in the wood itself. But essentially this is what the lady was looking for, or was hoping to get, but not rotten, so that it just falls apart. Now, yes, I can do that. I don't put any treatment on the wood. We make the benches, and in about 5 or 6 years she'll probably get somewhere near that. But I didn't want to go down that route because A, it's not what she wants, because she doesn't want to wait that long, and B, it would still leave the wood unprotected. So I went into the garage and dug out some white vinegar I'd got for removing rust on car parts, and I put one of these bolts in it for about 2 hours, I suppose it was, and that just dissolves a bit of steel into the vinegar, and that's what it really needs. And if you then just brush that onto the oak, I think you can see even on this now, it's already starting to stain up the grain. It reacts with the tannin. You can see that has left it completely different animal straight away. So I took with her one of the nice pieces of oak that I'd got for the slats, which have all been planed and jointed up ready to use, and I put on a layer of this vinegar solution, and then I put on 2 layers, then I put on 3 layers, and then I put on 4 layers, and then over the whole lot then I put a layer of essentially teak oil or Danish oil over the whole thing, so that she could get a rough idea of what we were talking about. And I thought she might well want something that was, you know, in this sort of spectrum to deal with it, to just take that edge off the new wood. Good job I did take this with me, because what she's actually said is, I want to be somewhere down here in the 3 to 4 layers of treatment. I mean, that's only had the one that you saw a minute ago, and it's gone that way. That, as I say, is 4 coats, that's 3, so I'm going to start with 3, I think, and I might blotch it here and there a little bit more. But essentially what that means is I've got to take all the treatment off the Osmo oil off the table itself, which is a bit of a nuisance, but at least the lady will have what I think she wants, and it will look right in the setting that it's going to be used in. Now I think I'll keep the underneath as it is, because you're never going to see that, and I know it's got good protection on it. It's only the top that I'm going to deal with, and the sides as well, perhaps. But we've got to get this Osmo off first, and we'll see how big a job that is. Now fortunately it's not taken many minutes to get this back to roughly where I want it to be. I think. I don't know, we'll find out, but I'm just I've got most of the clear Osmo off, I believe. What I'm going to do is try a coat of this vinegar and solution with a bit of iron in it and see. Yeah, that's going black already. So we've got through the Osmo fairly rapidly, and we're getting reaction more or less straight away. So I can just do all of these one at a time, get them to a level that I think the lady will be happy with, and then we can go back, and if she's happy with that I can move on. And there's a couple of areas where the varnish is clearly, or the oil is clearly still there a little bit, because it's just a slightly lighter colour, but that in itself is probably not a bad thing. It'll give us a little bit of variety in the finish, which is what I think is also needed, so it doesn't look too regular. So the slats have had two coats of solution to darken them down a bit, just taking a little bit of a rub off with 320 grit just to get the surface back, and then I'm just going to put a spot of Danish oil on, which should bring us the necessary sort of colour that we want, which is closer to black, and certainly closer to the original finish. That's getting me close to the sort of finish we want, I think. That will dry matte, I think, but I'll give it a couple of coats of oil, see how we get on with that, and then whether or not I put any Osmo on top of that I'll have a think about. So I've just been up to deliver the table to the lady and she's delighted, so all's well that ends well on that score. We've established a finish that we need and I can now get on with the actual benches themselves. So the next video will be on actually preparing all the timber for that. There's not a lot of work in that that's different to what I've done already, so I'll skip through most of it, but there's some work to look at on the fixings and a little bit of working out to do to see how it all goes together. So hopefully we'll get onto that next time I'm working on those. It'll be in a week or two, no doubt. Hope the video was of interest and I look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be doing something different. I'll see you then. Bye.